but in a new situation. Welcome, four-time champion. That's a lot. Sebastien Bourdais, nice to see you.
Good to see you.
It's an odd situation for you. You've don't have a full-time ride at this point. You're going to start the season in the number 14 car, legendary car. Interesting that you'd land in that car at some point in your career, but it's good. What do you know about?
You implied that I'm old or something?
No, it's just you got a four-time Indy 500 winner, maybe the greatest race car driver that's ever lived, and hey, there's been a lot of people that come in here today and talk about the virtues of an experience of Sebastien Bourdais. So
Wisdom.
Well,
no, it's great to be here. Obviously, a very different set of circumstances from last year, and I wasn't expecting that, but I guess you got to make the best of every situation, and it's kind of worked out pretty good. So I'll have the full program in DPI, and then 4 races with AJ4 Racing and reuniting with Chevrolet. So yeah, pretty exciting. We're kind of in the rebuilding phase with AJ Foyt Racing, trying to see how we can turn the thing around and get some good results. I think bringing Mike Culliver and Mike Pulaski obviously is going to be a huge help, and quite excited. I mean, it's only 4 events, so you got to perform right away, and you don't have many jokers, but bring it back to the point you were mentioning at the beginning. It's kind of ironic that you start your career at Newman Haas Racing with Paul Newman and Carl Haas, and end up driving AJ Foyt's car on your later part of your career. So feeling pretty lucky.
I would think there's some pride in getting to drive for Foyt, no matter where they've been the last year or two. But it's such a iconic situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge honor, and you kind of feel a responsibility to deliver, because I think Tony mentioned it time and time again. Like when you fly the flag, and the colors, you really feel like you gotta give it back to him, because it's his name on it, it's his legacy, and it's his team. So you really feel a quite strong responsibility.
So your races are St. Pete, Long Beach, Barber, and Portland, which may be as good a track that you have. I mean, you've been very good at Portland over the years.
Yeah, I think given the right equipment, we've been performing well anywhere, but it's definitely places that I very much enjoy. When Larry came up with the opportunity, it was just selected races. There were different circumstances that prevented from doing more, but it's like, man, I'll do whatever I can to help you, and I was really honored that. Obviously he provided that chance to me, and provided a chance to stay in IndyCar, at least to keep a foot in it, and see what comes in the future.
And I think we all know you've been about as fast as anyone in Indianapolis the last 3 or 4 years. Would you expect to be in the 500?
As of right now, it's not part of the plans, but I would be lying if I was saying that we're not working on things. So it's in the papers. We'll see what comes up and if it happens. But for the moment, it's not the focus, and it's not set by any means.
Questions?
You just asked the one I was going to ask.
I got 1,000 of them. Nathan.
When you have these 4 race opportunities already, and I would imagine want to potentially get back into it full time at some point, how do you balance not being too urgent and too aggressive when I know those 4 races will also potentially mean so much to you?
I mean, Mary can tell you. I mean, you're your own worst enemy in those days. Trying to overachieve, and I've been there before, where you try so hard to make something happen because maybe the equipment's not quite up to par, or because like this year you have only so many opportunities to show what you can do. You're definitely your own worst enemy, and you got to balance your aggression and how many chances you take and what you do. I mean, ultimately, I'm a true believer that obviously you can't carry those things around. I mean, you can only give your very best, and that's 100%. And once you try and do more than that, then only bad things come your way. So we'll just be focused. We'll work very hard with the team to try and get the team to the level they want to be performing at, and then obviously then the execution is the last part, which is the critical part of the result. When you given or you put yourself in the seat, and it's a possibility to achieve a result, but first of all you need to get the team where they want to be and get the car in the groove and have the potential to even compete at the level you want to be at.
Any other questions for Sebastien? Yes.
This was asked of a driver earlier. If Roger Penske came to you and tasked you to help on the officiating side, what would be one of your first recommendations, or what do you think the series is doing right?
I mean, I think I remember having that conversation with Bo Barfield a few years back and telling him, man, I will never ever want your job for $1 million because you can only be wrong in most people's eyes. I mean, truth be told, I mean, there are very few systems that are democratic that ever work, and it's hard because if you ask the paddock, well, what did you think of that incident, and then you'll have a mixed bag. And so to some people you'll be right, and to some people you'll be wrong, and the ones that voice their opinions are always the one you think you're wrong. So you're always a douche, pretty much, and that's a terrible situation to be in. So I think obviously Max and Harry are doing the best they can with the resources they have. For the most part, and very often the time they're limited to what they can see, and the good thing is they have the honesty to come back to you and say we were right or we were wrong and we screwed up if that happens. So everybody's human, and it's a very competitive series where there's a lot of incidents, obviously, because there's just very close proximity between cars and a lot of aggression, and things don't happen as far as overtaking and passing and stuff like that without a little hip check and a little bit of contact most times. So yeah, I mean it's not an easy thing to officiate, and as far as the way we run the events, I really don't think I would change anything, but it's on the officiating side and the stewarding, I think it's very difficult and challenging.
Steve?
You've been a big part of the drivers group and driver safety over the years. How big of a step forward is the aeroscreen?
I think independently of whatever responsibility you can have in this, I mean, the aeroscreen is obviously the solution as far as projectile and drivers getting banged in the head by very specific set of circumstances on ovals. I mean, how many times when you've been a veteran driver on ovals have you missed stuff by inches or fraction of inches? I mean, I remember my first time in 2005 at the Speedway. Ryan Briscoe demolished the car in front of me coming out of turn 2, and I went through a cloud of debris that it was like, it looked like the end of the world. Like it was just coming to an end. There was just stuff everywhere flying, and we identified that the bevel gear actually bounced off the nose of the car, took out the antenna, and took out the camera over my head. So. I mean, I've always been a very big fan of sitting very low in a car, and that day I was pretty thankful. Yeah, I mean, I think when you go through those experiences, and people start talking about putting a halo with an aeroscreen in front of it, you're like, oh yeah. So obviously there was a real try to implement something safety-wise. For our particular needs on ovals, and I think it's fulfilled and it's great. And then as far as how things will evolve, and there might be little things we need to adjust to, but as far as the safety improvements, it's huge.
David?
Yeah, I forgot what it was.
He forgot what it was.
It's old age.
Understood. Well, good luck to you. I meant the rest of the day. And
No, I think the day's done pretty well. I think we're almost done.
I just remembered.
he remembered.
Charlie Kimball went part-time last year and then has come back full-time this year. Obviously, you're at a slightly different part of your career, but do you believe that this isn't the beginning of the end and that you can actually come back to become a full-timer in future?
I mean, there's no intention to retire from IndyCar racing. That's what you're asking. And obviously, it's kind of the end have been dealt late in November, and there really was anything at all. And then when that opportunity came about, then it was as good as it was going to get. And I already had to, find a rescue mission on the IMSA side, which I was extremely grateful. So everything on top of that was just, cherry on top of the cake. So, maybe we can put a few more cherries on top of the cake. But as far as the future is concerned, yeah, it's definitely wide open. And I hope I'll be able to prove this year that, I still belong there, and then he can keep going for a few more years. But who knows? If it's the end, then, it's the end. But, I kind of got a mission to try and help the team in whichever way I can. And we started already working on the simulator with Chevy, and both Mikes and Daniele and the whole team is pretty pumped up. So we'll try and live up to the expectations and deliver.
And do you have any good Le Mans 24-hour prospects?
Yeah, there might be something, but it's still early days, so we'll have to keep an open mind. I was kind of hoping on the Rebellion thing, but it didn't work out. So we'll kind of keep on trying.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.